The other thing that I will say is about AOC, she has been demonized by the right, and she's been demonized as this like too progressive, far left person. And the other thing that I will say is about AOC, she has been demonized by the right, and she's been demonized as this like too progressive, far left person. And I want to try to set the record straight, because if she is too progressive, then the Democrats really are going to lose the working class.
Joe Biden, he did not retire early enough so that there could be an open, what do they call it, primary.
I don't know how these people can report on the politics and just always sound like they don't know what they're talking about, right? What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So we have here, though, Sunny playing with words and saying things like, if AOC sounds too progressive, you know, to the right, then the Democrat Party has a problem because then the whole party is too progressive. That is gaslighting to the highest level. But we have Ana, who can't see past the labels and barely calls her out on it. But let's go ahead and watch.
There was a fascinating discussion over at The View today, and it had to do with something that transpired in regard to a leadership battle for the House Oversight Committee. And that leadership battle was between progressive Democratic lawmaker Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a more moderate centrist Democrat, and that was Democratic Representative Connolly, right? So there was a vote on that issue, and it turns out that behind the scenes, you had former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi essentially whipping votes against AOC to ensure that Congressman Connolly would be the Democratic leader within that House Oversight Committee. And so it's nice hearing Sunny Hostin defend Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because I recall the days when corporate media, for the most part, was siding with Nancy Pelosi and trashing members of the squad, progressive members of Congress. But that's not the case in this conversation. So
but
that,
I mean,
it was surprising.
So
but
these people blink before I even know it, okay? So the thing is, this isn't shocking, though. Like, I remember watching Jimmy Dore, who was watching TYT, complain about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez being too chummy with Nancy Pelosi when Nancy wasn't giving her what she wanted anyway. There's nothing new about this. Like, I don't understand why people are shocked. How many times you're going to keep doing the same thing and thinking that you're going to get different results? Whatever made the AOC think that she was going to run the lead the Democratic Party? I'm not saying that she couldn't, but what made her think that it was going to happen? It still hasn't happened. It was never going to happen for her.
But I also thought it was interesting when Sunny Hostin specifically listed what AOC's values are. The list was interesting, and what wasn't in the list was also interesting. So without further ado, let's watch more of Sunny Hostin's commentary on AOC.
This is her platform. The key issues: healthcare for all people, affordable housing, rebuild the unions, federal job guarantee, free public college, create clean energy jobs, pay parental leave, and expand protections for the LGBTQ plus community. If that is too progressive for this country, then that's a problem for the Democrats, and that's a problem, quite frankly, for this country.
That used to be a description of a liberal.
But Medicare, healthcare for all should be an everybody issue.
So I thought that list of policy goals that AOC certainly does hold was a good list for the most part. And, what I thought was interesting was that Sunny Hostin is smart enough to understand that those are policies that tend to have broader appeal among the electorate. I mean, there is a reason why there's this populist wing of the Republican.
Okay, so we're going to stop. Oh, God.
Republican voting.
Yeah. We're going to stop with this whole, populist wing of the Republican Party. This is why y'all and y'all labels really get on my nerves, all right, guys? On this channel, we break things down to the inconvenient truth, all right? And I want to thank everybody who watches. I'm not sure if I said it already. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Now, and thank you again for watching. That's not populist positions, okay? Uh, this whole thing about expanding protections for LGBTQ. No, I'm not far right. I am a realist. I don't like the word populist because populist means to me the people are always right. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay? So the people want protections for homosexuals and trans and everything. I don't think the people really care that hard. That's number one. Number two, we have enough laws on the books to protect American citizens. We just need to practice those laws. I don't believe in protected classes. No protected class. Not in this country. Maybe in another country, right? Green, clean jobs for people. What the heck does that mean? They tried that already with the Inflation Reduction Act. There were supposed to be people, all these jobs for people in Philadelphia, to be, putting up the chargers in the neighborhood. Where did those jobs go? Did the people get to do it? Like, miss me with all these words and terms. This is a problem I have with progressives. It's like, pay attention. Like Alyssa said, the devil's in the details. And then somebody like Alyssa will be looked at as like stuck up or something. But it's true. All that sounds good, and it doesn't even sound good to me, face value, believe it or not. I'm not mean, y'all. I'm not. I think that there should be a package where a person, if they don't have insurance, they can get, some surgery or something, and that they need a basic package. But yeah, people should be able to pick. There is a reason for privatizing certain things. The devils are in the details.
Based right now, and certainly that has existed among the left for forever. But she understands that the economic stuff really appeals to people, and she just kind of downplayed some of the more, I think like social justice, social policies that AOC talks about. But I think what AOC does correctly is that she manages to balance her messaging on both, as opposed to only focusing on the social stuff and then engaging in like scolding people if they're not completely on board with what she wants for that stuff. Because I think that's what's kind of turned some people off on the left. But I'm curious what you think about that, Waz.
I think The View, they've been on a roller coaster, right? They were anti-Biden getting pushed out, and Biden is fine. He's not too old, and all right. And then they became.
I'll tell you how much people are so concerned with their labels, and they're making sure that they're not doing things that are too white, or that they're not doing things that aren't black enough or whatever. You see this hat? It says Happy Holidays. You would never look at this hat and think that this is a hat of like, hey, Happy Holidays, or like Christmas Festivus, none of that, right? You think that this is somebody who went to Hawaii. That's on purpose. We don't want to get too Christmassy. It might be too fascisty. Like, y'all need to stop this. Maybe he just really liked the hat, but it doesn't miss me that he has that on. I bring up these details because I remember being in this box of like, am I doing this right? Am I blacking up this way? Be yourself. I don't know. He might like the hat. They might match with some Jordans he has on or something. I'm not hating on Jordans. I like Jordans. I have Jordans. But I just know that this is the type of stuff the left does. It's so lame.
Kamala coconuts overnight, and they loved the coconut Kamala, and they went crazy for that, and they were just so sure she was going to win. And I think, unlike a lot of people, Morning Joe, they're like a little bit self-reflective as to what happened in the last election. I think that's one, that they understand that they need to be more self-reflective. And two, I think what you're saying, honestly, Anna, is the power of celebrity. AOC is a celebrity. She is a star. Yeah. She counts for a star in the Democratic Party in 2024.
So he's right about that. And this is why I would say to people that influencers are a lot more powerful than people really understand, right? And so that's why, like, when I say stuff like, I'm grateful to every eye that lands, I'm not calling myself an influencer or anything like that. But what I am saying is that I am grateful for an audience, period, even of one, right? And so my integrity is to that audience. This is why I may come off like I'm nitpicking all the time. It's not that, man. It's that I know what gaslighting really does and looks like to people. It's not cool. It's not. So when they half tell you stuff, or they say green jobs for people, and then you find out that, guess what, the jobs aren't coming. Not everybody bought electric cars. We have chargers here in Philadelphia, and for what, right? And where are those jobs, right? So I just don't like people being misled. People will clap themselves all the way to the grave. The right does it too.
Not support, for example, the Green New Deal, which would absolutely crush jobs across this country, wreak havoc
It would create millions of jobs, actually.
It would actually make international travel virtually impossible to do because of some of the regulations that have been in place. Universal health care. You should have, of course, anyone who needs emergency coverage, people should have catastrophic coverage, but most Americans think they want to have some choice and optionality in their health care. There's a reason Obamacare did not have the public option. That's not where the majority of the country is. I would argue that AOC is definitely too left for the majority of the country.
So I disagree with what Alyssa Farah Griffin said there. So first of all, like the Green New Deal was such a massive piece of legislation. I mean, which provisions are we talking about here? And look, I've been on the record and people have gotten mad at me. I don't care. I'm going to say it again. If you write climate-related legislation in a way that puts the financial burden on individual Americans, yeah, they're not going to like it. Okay. If it becomes this like super expensive burden on ordinary American workers and they're forced to buy certain cars or replace certain appliances in their home without any real government support. And when I say real government support, I'm not just talking about tax credits. Okay. Take your tax credits and you can shove it. Okay. Tax credits is like, oh, you might.
All right. So she's rambling.
A certain portion of your income might be tax deductible. It's not good enough, okay? Because people have to pay for things up front, and a lot of American families can't afford that. So if it has to do with provisions that are written in that way, I can see those provisions being unpopular. But to just say the Green New Deal is unpopular, okay, well, what's your evidence of that? And which parts of that massive
we already know.
bill?
So you sat there and said that all Americans love the stuff that Sunny Hostin said, right? You sat there and said, oh, Sunny Hostin knew how to bring up the stuff that the populists would love. Where's your evidence that everybody wants, protections for LGBTQ? Because I thought we lived in a country where there wasn't any, protected classes, right? I'm not here for the gaslighting, man. I'm just not, man. I want to give it to y'all straight and straightforward. Something like the Inflation Reduction Act was something close to the Green New Deal. Do you understand that they are putting so much more corn in your gas? They're talking about biodegradable fuel for jets. I need the jets to stay in the air. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need sunflower seeds I need them to stay in the air. They're talking about making new wood. All this broken infrastructure. When I looked at that, I said, this is the blueprint for Haiti. Anyway, long story short, and by the way, I did document that way back in the catalog, because that's what I do. Because for the audience deserves to get the truth. And these people don't do it. They just pick at headlines. Don't get mad at Alyssa for doing the same thing you just did here. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.